up with this rough cut, Mr. Chairman. It goes like this. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. What do you think about that? You think that covers it? We could call the first part the Establishment Clause. We could call the second part the Free Exercise Clause. I know we could get that through the Democratic caucus. You think we could get it through the Republican?
Classes said they're so glad he used the word prohibit. Right. Just like alcohol. It's not illegal. I mean, certain age, certain activities, drinking and driving, illegal. So the act of drinking, not illegal. Nothing wrong with that. You're drinking and driving. You're showing up to work drunk. Yeah, I mean, there's laws. Okay, so what's the problem? Oh, what, don't you fucking understand? Right, so it's pretty much like people freaking out as though they have a right to drink and they're getting upset. They're getting fined for drinking and driving or going to work drunk. And like, oh, we have a right to drink. I mean, it's that fucking stupid. Wake the fuck up, people. My name's Mary. We're in Augusta, Maine. I have 4 children here, youngest 2, sick murderers, pedophiles. They make child and animal pornography and abuse videos and feed it out to activist groups that many of you probably know and are right in fucking bed with. You all profit from it. Wake the fuck up. No need to blame. We have much love and respect and understanding for you all. Understand our anger and passion. It comes from being a dead mother whose children have been fucked and tortured by these punks. Not to mention the other little boy that got beat up by the sick fuck. Thank goodness that mother had good people around her that took his ass to court and got full custody, no contact. Yeah, we're surrounded by fucking druggies who have been playing these games our whole goddamn lives. Wake the fuck up. Nasty fucking sick people. So hopefully the proper authorities do what they're supposed to do.
I'm not sure. I hope so. The problem is that we've got theocrats out there across the religious spectrum who want to elevate their own religious creeds and dogmas above the Constitution and establish them over the secular law. Take, for example, what the Texas and Louisiana legislatures recently did. They voted to endorse the 10 Commandments and post the 10 Commandments in every public school classroom in their states. I didn't even know that was necessary because I thought the 10 Commandments were doing all right after millennia. I didn't know they needed an endorsement from the Republican conference, but they went ahead and did that. Now they want to have votes in every state legislature to endorse the 10 Commandments and to post the 10 Commandments. I'm opposed to that because of the provision in the Constitution, Article 6, Clause 3, which says there shall be no religious tests for public office. That sounds like a religious test when you round up all the politicians and you ask them to vote on the 10 Commandments. And by the way, if we are going to vote on the 10 Commandments, Mr. Chairman, I do not support that omnibus Republican package. I think we should have to vote on each commandment separately. And I don't think that you should be able to vote for any commandment you yourself have violated, because then we'll be taking the name of the Lord in vain. Mm-hmm. One politician I spoke to on the floor about this, he said that you know that the 10 Commandments are the basis for the Bill of Rights. He kind of confused me there for a second. I said, well, I do know that there are 10 in each one. That's true. But let's test the proposition. The first commandment says, thou shalt have no other God before me. The First Amendment says, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. It's hard to see how the First Commandment dictates the First Amendment. Is Sharia law incompatible with the Constitution, as the title of the hearing is? Sure. And so is legislating any other religious text. The 10 Commandments. Do
they still want to nail people to the cross, too?
Or whatever. Any religious scripture or body.
Hang them high.
The point
we still have firing squads.
Is that people can go believe whatever they want. The government's not going to dictate to you what your religious worship and practice are going to be.
I really hope they acknowledge the facts and concerns here. So.
I did not write that language, to be clear. James Madison wrote that language. He took care of your whole anti-Sharia law centuries ago. This is a complete waste of time. And he had the right idea. Madison would be appalled that the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals just voted 9-8 to uphold the compulsory 10 Commandments display in every school classroom in Texas or Louisiana. If Louisiana can do that, It can compel display of the 5 pillars of Islam. Think about that. You really want to head down that road? The states could force display of the 10 precepts of Buddhism, the Analects of Confucius, or the 5 principles of Hinduism, if you can put up the 10 commandments. And by the way, the 10 commandments doesn't exist as one commonly agreed upon body of law. If you go online, you'll find like 10 or 15 different versions of the 10 commandments. There's a Catholic version, there's a Lutheran version, there's a Jewish version, a Baptist version, Mennonite, and so on. You can, if you can compel display of 10 of them, you can compel display of all of them. There could be 100 commandments. There could be 150 commandments. So look, my friends, we don't need an anti-Sharia law, or an anti-Christian law, or an anti-Jewish law, or an anti-Hindu law. We've already got one forbidding the imposition of any religious orthodoxy, forbidding the endorsement of any religious orthodoxy. It's called the First Amendment. And everybody should familiarize themselves with it, because this is a complete waste of time what we're doing here. The government cannot establish, prefer, legislate, coerce, impose, or endorse any religious doctrine. And we don't need a special law or a special caucus to do that. And if my friends understand that, then I think they will reverse course on this movement, unless the purpose of the movement is just to demonize and vilify not a religion, but adherents of the religion. But then I would have to believe that my colleagues are actually out just attacking Muslims, attacking Muslim Americans, criticizing and vilifying them for their beliefs or their way of life. And I don't want to believe that. But I do challenge my friends to state one thing that an anti-Sharia law would do that the First Amendment doesn't already do. Tell me one thing that we would need to legislate that's not already taken care of by the Establishment Clause or the Free Exercise Clause. The real threat to our Constitution comes not from adherents of a particular religion, but from turning our backs on the Constitution and the First Amendment. Our freedoms are not under siege by a religious minority trying to build a community center, but they are undermined by lawmakers who would want to turn Americans against each other on a religious basis. And is it true that religious fanatics commit violent criminal acts? Absolutely. I mean, you talk to any secular freethinker and they will say that every religion has produced religious fanatics who have committed violence. Take, for example, Timothy McVeigh, who was part of the Christian Identity Church. The Christian Identity Movement, trained on racism and anti-Semitism. He blew up the Oklahoma Federal Building in 1995. 167 people killed, 684 wounded. They blew up a nursery school. He was a violent fundamentalist Christian fanatic, but you wouldn't blame all Christians for what he did any more than you should blame all Muslims or all Jews or all members of any religious faith because of what one person or one crazed fanatic group does in their name. So, Mr. Chairman, I trust you understand all of that. I do hope we will return to constitutional principles, and I yield back.
I thank the ranking member. Without objection, all of their opening statements will be included in the record. We will now introduce today's witnesses. Mr. Ammon Blair. Mr. Blair is a senior fellow at the Texas Public Policy Foundation. His research focuses on transnational criminal organizations, foreign terrorist networks, hostile state influence operations, mass migration, and emerging security threats. He previously served more than 2 decades with the United States Army and as a Border Patrol agent. Mr. Marco Hunter Lopez. Mr. Hunter Lopez is a student at Wiley East High School in Wiley, Texas, where he is the president of the school's Republican Student Club. He also serves on the PTA board and has been involved in national, state, and local campaigns since he was 13. I believe that Mr. Hunter Lopez recently turned 16. That's correct. Ms. Amy Meckelberg. Ms. Meckelberg is the founder and editor-in-chief of the RARE Foundation, a grassroots organization that advocates for American values. Her work is focused on authoritarian systems and efforts to replace democratic governance. Ms. Amanda Tyler. Ms. Tyler is the executive director of the Baptist Joint Committee for Religious Liberty, a nonprofit organization that advocates on matters of religion. She previously worked in Congress and private law practice. We thank our witnesses for appearing today, and we'll begin by swearing you in. Would you please rise and raise your right hand?
Blueberry oatmeal.
Forget what you know about sunscreen. The future is here, and it's unseen. unsticky, ungreasy, unirritating. The future is unseen by Supergoop.
Everything is so expensive. Now Susan Collins voted to support Trump's war in Iran, driving up gas prices. Now it's costing me an extra $30 every time I fill the tank on this truck. Tell Susan Collins, stop supporting Trump's wars.
What is that?
Colin, I don't know, but I need it. This is my bedazzle it.
Even in moments like this, it's hard not to just like adore her.
Balls, man. Balls, man.
Life is never dull work.
They say higher education is outdated, irrelevant, but at Grand Canyon University, we...
Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is true and correct to the best of your knowledge, information, and belief, so help you God? Let the record reflect that the witnesses have answered in the affirmative, and you may be seated. Please know that your written testimony will be entered into the record in its entirety. Accordingly, we ask that you summarize your testimony in 5 minutes. I'm going to start over here on the right. Remind our witnesses to turn the microphone on. Mr. Blair, you may begin your 5 minutes.
Dear Chairman Roy, Ranking Member Scanlon, and distinguished members of the committee, good morning and thank you for inviting me to testify before you. My name is Ammon Blair. I'm a senior fellow with the Texas Public Policy Foundation Secure and Sovereign Nation Initiative and a consultant for the Operation Lone Star Task Force. As Representative Roy stated, I had previously served as a United States Border Patrol agent in the Rio Grande Valley sector and had more than 2 decades in the United States Army. The issue before this subcommittee is not whether Americans have the right to practice religion freely. They do unequivocally. The First Amendment protects belief, worship, religious instruction, peaceful association, and voluntary observance. Texas law does the same. However, religious liberty does not create immunity from the rule of law. A crime remains a crime regardless of religion, and no religious, ideological, or political system possesses a constitutional license to violate the rights of a sovereign nation, a sovereign state, a political subdivision, private property owners, or individual citizens. The constitutional issue before Congress is narrow but foundational. The American constitutional order recognizes dual sovereignty between the federal government and the states. It does not recognize parallel sovereign systems operating outside constitutional supremacy, judicial review, equal protection, due process, or the rule of law. The Supremacy Clause, Equal Protection, and Due Process Clauses in Article 4 guarantee one supreme constitutional order in one Republican form of government. No religious, ideological, political, or organizational system may exercise coercive civil authority independent of the Constitution while claiming immunity from constitutional accountability. This distinction between protected belief and regulable conduct is deeply rooted in American constitutional law. Under the 10th Amendment and longstanding police powers doctrine, states retain inherent sovereign authority and the ongoing duty to preserve public safety, territorial integrity, property rights, institutional order, and domestic tranquility. States were never meant to function as passive subdivisions, waiting federal permission before defending constitutional order. Texas stands at the center of this national security crisis. Federal strategic assessments, including the 2026 U.S. Counterterrorism Strategy and the ODNI's 2026 Annual Threat Assessment, identify cartels and Islamic terrorism as top homeland threats. These threats overlap and reinforce one another through hybrid and gray zone operations. Texas is confronting weaponized mass migration, cartel-engineered smuggling networks, foreign-linked governance structures operating within our communities, and systemic failure across the entire immigration enforcement and removal cycle. These dynamics have produced concentrated enclaves with limited assimilation and fragmented allegiances, environments actively exploited by foreign terrorist organizations, hostile states, and transnational criminal networks. Migration pipelines now function as operational infrastructure for coercion, illicit finance, transnational repression, and foreign influence. While all eyes are on conflict with Iran overseas, that conflict is not confined to distant battlefields. It is playing out right here on our shores. Iran has waged decades-long hybrid operations in Western Hemisphere and U.S. interior, leveraging proxies including Hezbollah, Hamas, and Muslim Brotherhood-linked networks alongside cartel smuggling infrastructure. These threat networks increasingly utilize gray zone tactics operating under the threshold of armed conflict inside the United States, through cyber-enabled influence operations, propaganda ecosystems, and online radicalization platforms to accelerate recruitment, coordination, and institutional influence. These networks exploit migration corridors and distribute institutional ecosystems inside the United States. They operate through nonprofits, charities, educational institutions, advocacy groups, media ecosystems, and political conditions to pursue influence, concealment, and institutional entrenchment. These networks pursue the very civilization jihadist process of settlement outlined in the Muslim Brotherhood's 1991 explanatory memorandum. That document calls for gradual institutional entrenchment to eliminate, I say, quote, eliminate and destroy the Western civilization from within, end quote, by building parallel power structures inside American society. Mass migration at scale can create operational and demographic conditions that facilitate long-term institutional entrenchment when vetting, assimilation, and constitutional integration mechanisms erode. The constitutional concern is not private worship or voluntary religious practice. It arises where systems attempt to establish coercive adjudicatory structures, assert Sharia as superior civil law, obstruct access to American courts, and subordinate constitutional protectives to alternative governing authority. Texas is confronting this reality directly, exercising its sovereign authorities, including the governor's power as commander-in-chief. Governor Abbott has designated both the Muslim Brotherhood and CARE as foreign terrorist organizations and transnational criminal organizations. Governor Abbott has directed investigations into entities masquerading as legal courts staffed with judges issuing orders that purportedly carry authority to bind individuals to Islamic codes. The Constitution protects the broad sphere of religious liberty precisely because every person and institution within the United States ultimately remains accountable to one constitutional system, one civil sovereign, and one rule of law. No parallel system claiming supremacy over the Constitution can be permitted. Thank you. I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Blair. I'm now going to go to Ms. Meckelberg for her opening statement.
Distinguished members of Congress.
A lot of really simple examples coming through in class. So what would be an example of someone saying, hey, my religious beliefs are being impeded upon, when it's, nope, that's just the law. You can wear your hat. I don't care what fucking religion you are. If it's a fucking turban or a baseball cap, you can't wear it in here. Take it off. I don't care if it's your goddamn religion. Oh, is someone going to come in here and kill you if you show your hair? Grow the fuck up. I know, it really happens somewhere at some point in time. Shut the fuck up. Right, so anyways, my name's Mary. We're in Augusta, Maine. We're at the Governor Hill Mansion. 4 children here. Youngest 2 are in the hands of sick, murderous pedophiles. You fucking people, man. Holy shit. So fucking sickening listening to this shit. I don't know how you people do this day in and day out. Is it your job? Is it what you get paid to do? Oh, it is? Oh, well, excuse me then. Carry the fuck on. We'll just let them keep fucking the kids while you people fucking use innocent people on disability, immigrants, and our disabled children as your little fucking profit margins, you sick fucks. Anyone who fucking cares and want to speak up, you can do that pretty easily. My name's Mary. We're at the Governor Hill Mansion in Augusta, Maine. Sick fucking punk Michael Scott Garan, born 6/22/1984, that has my youngest 2 children. When you can see what's been going on here and how that stuff gets fed out. And it's fed a lot of your businesses, right? Alex Jones, Andrew Tate. And when you see these people all caught up in lawsuits and the fucking Tate and hazing games, get a fucking clue. So in some of these cases and situations in communities that have been very heavily hit, deservingly so, a bunch of cartel people, we got kids that have been fucked and tortured that feed your little fucking activist groups and investigators that are taking out the cartels, right? Yeah, think about it. We told you those wires got crossed. The private investigator in 2009 tried to fucking tell you, and he wound up shooting himself, right? Am I right? Or was that just a show? I don't know. You tell me. I went to the funeral. They didn't shoot the thingies out of respect. I know usually they shoot him out of respect, but I think because of the situation and they didn't want to. His mom was pretty upset. She was on her oxygen tank crying. Oh, it was so sad. You could hear it during the service. You know, just the sobbing in that oxygen machine. I know the tears were running down my face. I was wearing a purple sweater. And so I had these 2 big spots on my shirt where I was crying. It was awful. But yeah, anyways, if you catch my drift, hopefully the proper authorities here in Augusta, Maine do what they're supposed to do, because you fucking pigs playing your fucking little games is getting old. It's fucking gross. It's a waste of life, and I don't know how you fucking do it day after day, you sick fucks. I really don't. They must be heavily medicated, right? Thank goodness they got those psychedelics approved, because you're gonna fucking need it, you sick fucking pigs.
And there's only one thing left to do. The whip.
I got a little baby boy. Won't my mommy be so proud of me? I got a little baby bumblebee. Oh, it's stunning.
I got an open mind, like a golden child. You try to go for points, I try to go for style. I do my city pride, I try to keep it wild. Ichiban, wicked one, Okinawa loud. I drink Guinnesses and go to dinner with my nemesis. Have a couple laughs while they plot how to finish this. Interested on how to get up on a wizard list. Senseless, you sense I'm the sensei apprentices. I'm the salt up in the cut. Who you trying to play but us? Like a DJ turning stuff. Who you trying to fool? We all know that shit's unplugged, yeah.
Alright. Harry fucking Henderson.
Catch me in the mood. I ain't too cool for wrecking shit. Stoners on the loose.
Good
Call that shit everything.
morning.
We just getting going. And this shit's just my style.
Yeah, hold on. We're gonna go over that and do reading class, okay? Alright. Peace, peace.
Yeah, I'm talking reader. I'm talking about me. Talking about the real one. I'm out with Jenny Tasha. Right up the building. Holly Stone, all that shit. So black homie pilot. MCs get a tourniquet. Body bag that murder it. This evidence is evident.
Yeah.
Stampede elephant. We crash shot. I'm king bitch. Y'all bitches off like villains.
No, his name is Peace. So I was saying peace, peace. That's their name. Their name is Peace. Isn't that cool? Has a kid ever been legally named Peace? Because they changed it when they were younger. But has a kid ever legally been named that at birth? Peace? I know you can get really funky with the middle names, huh? What's that? Piecemeal? What? Peace deal. Peace deal. Why was Peace Deal such a popular name? What year was that? Yet to come. If I ever had to call out that name anywhere, Yet to Come? Is there a Yet to Come here? That's yet2come. I'm trying to be funny. I'm sorry, my eyes are playing tricks on me.